Money today is ones and zeros. You can send an email to anywhere in the world for effectively nothing. Why is it even 1.7%? And I think the good news is we can get there. There are hurdles, and more so than anything else, I think the hurdles is the incumbency of existing players, and I mean that as relates to corporates as well as governments, who sometimes don't always have a shared incentive of what's in the best interest of those populations that might be most fragile and in most need of those, in a moment of crisis, funds from loved ones, home, what have you.
The SEC's secret agenda being exposed again. Welcome back to the Make Money Online channel. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend. Today, we're going to be looking at footage from one of the XRP community's favorite attorneys regarding the deliberative process privilege in the Ripple versus SEC lawsuit, which has specifically been going on for about 3 months now. So what's this SEC's latest secret agenda that's being exposed? We'll take a sneak peek into that shortly. But before we get into that, let's look at some of the nitty-gritty with the events at Davos 2022 in Switzerland. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse and a host of others, including Jeremy Allaire, co-founder, chairman, and chief executive officer, Circle Internet Financial USA, and Asif Saleh, executive director at Bragg Bangladesh, to be moderated by Sarah Petiliano, chief executive of ODI in the UK, and they spoke at the World Economic Forum annual meeting on Monday 23rd about remittances under the title Remittances for Recovery, a New Era of Digital Money. Meanwhile, following an analogous event, the IMF boss, Kristalina Georgieva, airs her views on what she thinks about digital money in terms of its public good. And given this, she and essentially the IMF are looking forward to a public platform. Notice how she used the word public, not a government-funded company, but one owned by and managed by the general public. Similar to what Ripple provisions through its XRP distributed ledger technology. One that could serve as a bridge currency connecting several central bank digital currencies with interoperability the same way you would transfer money from one country to another. What other words define Ripple better? I don't know, you tell me. For now, hit that subscribe button, don't forget to turn on bell notifications, and of course, check the description section for some useful links.
We are advocating to think about this world of digital money as a global public good. And in a recent discussion in Zurich, where we both were, what we advocated for is to have a public platform. So when protocols are agreed, this public platform can connect different CBDCs. There can be interoperability the same way you would transfer euros from one country to another. You do it using CBDCs.
And one of the challenges, of course, here are core financial regulations like KYC, know your customer. And a regulator hears the expression without permission, they take a deep breath. And they're like, wait a minute, no. I said, that's without permission.
We have to preserve digital cash. That has to work on the open internet. It has to work interoperably with anyone, anywhere. That's how we're going to solve this problem. And I think we're really close. I mean, USDC itself we've seen over $3.5 trillion of transactions directly on the internet between counterparties. And so if we can, improve it with more scalable blockchain technologies like, Brad's company provides, and we can make this extremely low cost to move, and then enable individuals with digital wallets that can interact, and you can scale into the risk, right?
Make a bet about where the future is going. I actually think, and partly building on something Jeremy said, I think one of the hardest parts of actually solving this, and Jeremy, I think very correctly said the word without permission. And I think one of the things we lose sight of is I think there's a lot of businesses that have very compelling solutions. You're hearing about some of them here, but governments matter. And we live in a world of government controlled. The financial systems in G20 markets are regulated in that. I'm not even saying that's necessarily a bad thing or good thing. It just is. I don't think that's going to change in my life.
Those were speeches from past and present Davos events. So back to today's topic. What is this SEC secret agenda that's being exposed again? Has the SEC finally launched a brutal attack against Ripple Labs in its ongoing lawsuit? Is the SEC ahead of the curve in the discovery and appropriation processes? Well, attorney Jeremy Hogan of Legal Briefs tells us otherwise, as he goes on to disclose in this 11-minute video that Ripple is not only winning the case, but doing so in grand style, as the SEC has come up with an attorney-client argument in which the commission is desperately trying not to turn over 68 emails related to the Hinman 2018 Ethereum speech. In case you're new to this channel, if you're learning about a few of these terms like deliberative process privilege, the famous Hinman 2018 speech, and the likes for the first time, yet want to know more about this lawsuit and these terms, feel free to refer to previous videos on this channel. We have dozens of videos on the topics, as we've been following up on the lawsuit since day one. So what does this mean for the SEC? Well, let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
And the attorney-client privilege issue is fully briefed now, and it's with Judge Netburn for her determination, and we'll be patiently looking for that ruling later this week, although based upon her past rulings, it might be 2 weeks, which puts us into early June. Now, can you believe it's June already, and the Ripple case is finally entering the end game of the case? I'd say in the Avengers movie, all that time travel stuff is over, and we are right now around the final battle scene where everyone finally comes through the portals. In any case, let's talk about this new phase of the case involving expert witness reports, why it's so important, and why Deaton's motion is crucial. As you know, the parties have to file their motions for summary judgment in November of this year, but before that, on August 30, 2022, the parties must submit their motions to exclude expert testimony. In most U.S. court systems, the court maintains control over what expert testimony is allowed in and what isn't. An expert witness is someone who has special knowledge, which allows her to provide opinion testimony to the court. Now, you can't bring in your uncle to talk about how an accident happened, for example, because he has no more knowledge about those type of things than a regular jury. But you can bring in an engineer who has training in accident reconstruction and who analyzes the damage to evaluate how fast the cars were going and looks at the angles of the cars to talk about how the accident and where the impacts occurred. So, for expert testimony to make its way in front of a court, you need two things. You need a person who is qualified as an expert, but also the expert's analysis must be the result of sound scientific methodology. And that attack on scientific methodology in federal courts is called a Daubert challenge, because the name of the case that established it was the Daubert v. Merrill pharmaceutical case. Now, it is a Daubert challenge which is brewing in the Ripple case, and in which the Deaton amicus brief might make the difference in the case. Let's talk about that. As you know, the judge granted XRP holders amicus status, but they still have to make a request to the judge before doing anything. And here in this motion, Deaton requests leave of court to file an amicus brief in a Daubert challenge related to the expert opinion of a Mr. Duty. Let's look at page 1, it's right there, quote, "Amici respectfully request leave to file an amicus brief regarding the opinions of plaintiff's expert Patrick B. Duty. Daubert concerns related to Mr. Duty's opinion represent the precise nature of the difficult issues envisioned by the court when it granted amici status. Counsel for amici recently became aware of Mr. Duty's report regarding the conduct of individual XRP holders such as amici," close quote. So that is apparently what is upcoming, a Daubert challenge on a Mr. Duty. And how do we know, and how does John Deaton know what Mr. Duty is going to say when he hasn't even seen the report yet? Well, we know because the SEC is a repeat customer of Mr. Duty. They have used him before, and specifically the SEC hired Mr. Duty in the Telegram case to very good effect. And here...
And one of the challenges, of course, here are core financial regulations like KYC, know your customer. And a regulator hears the expression without permission, they take a deep breath and they're like, wait a minute, no. If that's without permission, I need to know and make sure that that's not money laundering. I need to make sure that's not human trafficking. I need to make sure that's not drug X, Y, and Z. I need to make sure that's not terrorist financing. And I think, just regulatory frameworks are obviously there for a reason and to protect various aspects of society. But in this context, it actually is it's a point of friction that we should just be aware of. And I think if we try to proceed in a without permission, I worry that we take one step forward, 2 steps back.
Guys, you heard that right. More on the news as we take a quick look at what's happening in the Web3 space. Google seeks fresh talent to lead global Web3 team. The role will be tasked with raising awareness about Google Cloud's Web3 initiatives, in addition to eventually building customer demand for the related offerings. As a transition from earlier, the crypto coin offerings, from the days of initial coin offerings to initial exchange offerings, initial DEX offerings, we have now entered IGOs, initial game offerings, to usher in an increased opportunity for participating retail investors and grant them the chance to secure in-game assets and tokens before they're made available to the public. Each IGO launchpad has its specific cycle. The run-of-the-mill cycle includes first interfacing a wallet to the platform, and afterward, the investor would choose a level that reflects the worth of the investment they wish to enter into and select an IGO in which to invest. These IGO launchpads come in various types. They can be hosted on varying blockchains like Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, and BNB, you name it. Some explicitly focus on games, while others offer blockchain games alongside other projects. But that's all I got for you today, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.